Welcome back. E31 update. Things are getting spicy now.
I don't read the newspapers.
We have 3D printed the bracket for the external pump, the pulley for the pump, and the adapter ring for the crank pulley to drive the dry sump pump. All fit really well. We have enough room between the frame rail and the outer pulley. It's pretty close, but it'll be fine. So the project's moving forward. So we then place an order with a machine shop to take the CAD diagrams that we had for these parts and make them for real, or make it real. These are the off-camber designed manufactured parts for the E31 swap. Wanted to do an unboxing. Super excited to see what they look like. I love getting parts. So excited. Oh! This is the culmination of many months of work. Oh! Oh my God, how much packaging did they put on this stuff? They really want to protect their work. Look at that. That's cool, dude. Oh. These are the shim plates. These are also shim rings. The most exciting pieces aren't even opened yet. One is the pulley for the crank. The other one is the bracket for the pump. Ha, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Whew. My goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Yeah, baby, look at that. Ha! Tell me that's not badass. This is the bracket for the pump on the engine. Isn't that beautiful? God, I love getting manufactured parts in. I think it took like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They look awesome. The bracket for the dry sump pump looks fabulous. The pulley looks great, albeit I forgot to have the off-camber logo put on the pulleys, which we will for the next set. Everything looks great, looks strong, it looks really, really good. This is the E31 front engine cradle, engine support. Also what connects the thrust arm to the cradle is this extra support here. What we're gonna do right now is Anthony's gonna take all of this down, including the front suspension, and then that is a cradle from an E36. I'm thinking about adapting an E36 front suspension to this car because it gives us a lot more options on suspension, and steering. I think yeah, steering, and I think the car's going to handle a lot better.
I don't really...
See how off the bolt holes are?
Yeah.
Ain't gonna work. It's close.
It's close though, yeah. Oh.
Actually fits under the motor really well.
Ugly print.
The rack can fit there perfectly.
And look how much space you got. I mean, as long as the exhaust is in it, you got a lot of space for the steering shaft to come through.
Yes, I know. That was my other big concern.
Yeah, I'd probably have to get custom made, but...
A lot of cutting. I got that covered already. Perfect. So, like I said, so that was the option. Either we're going to make a plate, we're going to make a plate for this side completely.
Yeah, get the bolts.
Matt and I talked about, and then we'll need one for the back here too. But anyway, the point is that either going to make a custom cradle,
yeah,
or I was going to figure out how to use adapter plates for this to that.
I mean, the custom will look way better.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. That's very interesting. Okay, so the next thing is pull off one side.
Yeah.
And then
above all this, yeah.
Yes, the dolly's going to live here.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
The dolly is going to go to this.
All right, cool.
The dolly's going to the rail. So yes, that actually might be cleaner.
Yeah.
Pull off
I'll
both.
pull both of them off.
Yeah. Pull
probably...
both off. This is an E36 M3 front damper. It's actually a coilover strut, right? But same expression strut. What I want to do is, Anthony's going to take this off. This is the E31. This is the E31. See that? Front damper?
Yeah.
Right? And suspension bits. Take this whole thing off. And then what he's going to do is he's going to see if that will fit in that place.
Just for mock-up purposes.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about steering geometry
Yeah.
and how that's going to set up. That's actually pretty cool.
All right, you're off. Just drop to the ground. You're good.
I also ordered a single E39 damper, because the E36 dampers you see in the video are too small, quite frankly. They're not long enough, and the geometry is a little bit off compared. Funny thing though is the bolt pattern is the same on the top, so you don't have to bolt them up. But I think the E39 dampers will work much better. I also ordered an E39 aluminum spindle, which he's scanning as well. So my suspicion is E39 dampers, E39 strut hats, or camber plates, E39 knuckle. It's just temporary, look.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
It's an E36 knuckle. And we're going to make an adapter to bolt that to the carrier. And that should give us the right size and geometry for the E31. And the question of the thrust arms comes up. I'm not 100% sure, but I would like to potentially eliminate the thrust arms from the front suspension geometry, you know, and go with, like I said, a more like an E36 type setup. We are going to use probably a custom-made control arm, because the E36 control arms are nowhere near as big as they need to be for this setup. So we're working on designing a set of custom control arms. I want to use probably E36 tie rods with probably an adapter, again, to make them longer because they're not long enough. But yeah, the project's really flying along. So I'm expecting to see Matt tomorrow. We're going to show him what we've done, you know, with the mounting, talk about some ideas. And he's going to take the carrier, finish welding the carrier, so we have a completed carrier. We're going to talk about engine mounts. I got to do some research on engine mounts myself. And then the motor is bolted up. It's done. It's first fitting. The next thing is, of course, going to be the trans brace. Because then we can fit the 8 HP trans to the back of the engine. The trans brace should be easy. It's just a cross brace on the back of the trans for it to sit on, so the weight's supported back there. And then it's just a matter of vacuum lines, fuel lines, hydraulic lines, in terms of the physical connection of stuff. The big thing is engine controls now. So that's been my latest bit of research. Because the problem is we have a V12 direct injection twin turbo motor. So the potential new standalone ECU has to be able to handle all of that. And what I'm finding is BMW doesn't publish their specifications for their direct injection system. So an aftermarket or a standalone ECU is going to need that information to drive those injectors. So the other thought I have is, what if we use a company that can tune the N74 B66, and we can leave the stock DME to drive the engine, run patches, data patches, from that to the standalone driver for the transmission, and then back to the DME, which I don't think is going to be a big deal. And then maybe use the factory DME to run the body stuff. So, you know, we may have multiple DMEs in this car. Then, of course, there's ABS. You know, these early cars were quite interesting because the ABS system was not incorporated as part of the main DME. Like if you look at an E36, for example, an E36, kind of the same genre as the E31. The E36 had a DME to run the engine controls and like some of the body control stuff. You had an ABS computer, a separate standalone unit where all the wheel speed sensor data comes into directly. It talks to the ABS control module, or the hydraulic module, the pump as they call it. But there is some data lines going from the ABS control unit to the main DME. So there's a possibility we could do something very similar, because when I'm done, that car needs to have functional ABS. with this much horsepower, I think Troy would kill me if I gave him a non-ABS car. That's not my intention. Now the other thing is that I want to upsize the brakes, so that's gonna be another interesting quest because we've removed the brake booster because there's no room in the back of the engine for the brake booster. So I gotta get a booster, the brakes, the ABS, which will be interesting. Yeah, a lot of parts. But the key is, once the motor's mounted, we can make a lot of progress on connecting stuff and kind of moving that process along. We have a V12 direct injection twin turbo motor. Most of the standalone ECUs that I have found will not do direct injection. That's because they say it's too complicated. So that's been pretty damn painful. I spoke to some of the really big companies, the high-end companies, and it gets really close. Like I look at the documentation and say, yeah, we can do this. But then when I tell them which motor it is, they say, yeah, no, sorry, we can't drive that. So that's why, as I mentioned before, my thought right now is we might even use the stock ECU and drive the motor with that. That might be the best way to do it, you know. But that's the fun of doing, you know, being the first person to do any kind of build like this. It's all like you're doing like this kind of stuff. Like trying to figure stuff out and kind of make stuff work. I mean, I love doing that. Just sometimes challenge because it takes lots of time to research and figure out how these blocks are going to come together to make a final car. But we will get a final car. Version 2 of the front carrier, Matt brought it in and we tested it on the car.
Our hybrid carrier.
E31, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
6.
I was going to say exactly.
First thing is, you know, we weren't sure on the front engine cradle, were we going to use modified E31 cradle? Or are we going to use an E36 cradle with an adapter? Because the E36 cradle, the bolt holes are slightly narrower than the E31 cradle. So my one thought was, do I make an adapter plate to go from the other two? Because I'm trying to keep it all BMW parts.
I can make a new one of these with the ball joint relocated farther out.
Right.
So that we can use a factory control arm.
Right.
But that will mean extending the attachment point to the inner ball joint on the. So the inner ball joint on the tire rack, the steering rack is going to have to be farther out to compensate.
I think that's easier to do.
It's not hard
than a custom control arm.
Well, custom control arms are easily accessible thanks to our friends in drifting.
Oh, that's actually a fair point. See, I don't think in that vein.
So it is an off-the-shelf thing, though. OEM drivability-wise, not really going to be the case because it's all hind joints. They don't use factory.
Yes, I know. So that's why my original thought is I'd like to stick to a factory control arm with the nice rubber and the rest of it, right?
So I'm gonna have to make a new one of these brackets that's gonna come back here. That's gonna be one thing.
And then we need a bracket down where the lollipop can go to, right?
Correct. Yep.
So it's gonna incorporate from here. It's gonna bolt to that, right?
So the question is gonna be, what's a nice meaty spot to have it bolt through? Like maybe right here.
We're gonna let go of this for a second.
So your new bracket is gonna come up and plate this area.
Right.
And then we can have a couple and we'll just
This is stronger than just that. Hear the difference?
Well, yeah, but what you do is you'll sleeve it.
Yeah.
So you drill through, you'll put a sleeve and weld it inside and out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, then I think drilling the frame rail is fine if we put a sleeve through there.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah, though it does kind of take away from the kit aspect of it.
No, because then we'll just say, you know, you've got to drill here.
Yeah, bolt it up here and you drill through the hole where the hole. I mean, there is a hole here, but I don't know what that's for.
I know.
The same hole on this.
Yeah, I know. Interesting, huh? But there's no hole on this side.
No.
So that hole, you could
just continue that hole.
The only issue with that is
I'd rather get it down here.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a ledge here, and you're gonna put it in the edge of the ledge, which I don't prefer.
Right. It'll be a lot more. It'll be more rigid down there too.
Can we bolt it through here, Matt? I think it's
It's gonna
possible.
have to be a bit stepped then. It's gonna have to come back and come down at an angle to catch that. But not impossible.
Could you do this? Could we make the extension where it slips over this? I like that idea.
Okay.
I like the idea of part of this arm is being a sleeve that fits over here, and then you drill through here, and then we tell them they need a sleeve, we make a sleeve.
Yeah.
But even beyond the sleeve, you still have some plate on both sides of this
Right.
already pre-drilled with the hose.
Right. Or it could be a secondary piece that has that would be a plate with the spacer welded to it. So all you have to do, it would just be a backing plate instead of another whole piece, just in case this has a little. Because there's going to be variation in this.
Yeah, agreed.
To some extent.
Whatever you think. I'm okay with either.
Okay.
Right, but I do like the idea of something on sandwiching this with the holes in the middle, because this is much thicker than the frame rail here.
Yep.
Right? Because this is a crumple zone. This is designed to crumple.
Yep.
Right? This is not.
Yeah.
This is, you can see, it's solid. It's plated from the factory already. Right? I'd rather drill and mount it here.
Yep.
And yeah, I like the idea of the factory E36 M3 control arms, or E46 M3.
Okay.
You know? Now, are you going to... Do you want me to get an E39 strut for testing, for support, for spacing?
I think if we can keep with all E36 stuff.
I would love that.
we did
I just
better
want to
off.
make sure we're not cutting off.
I think you're probably the better thing to do is just we'll use all E36 stuff, and then we can get like a company like BC Racing
you get
to make custom coilovers.
No, I have a company.
he's already.
I already have a company
That have the right
Yeah,
height
it won't be
and
BC
everything.
Racing. It'll be another company I know that makes me custom coilovers. So yes. So after some thought and some looking, I didn't like that idea. So we're going to make a custom engine cradle. And that's what my guy Matt did. He designed a beautiful cradle after conversations, and he brought in version 1 of it. Version 1 was super close, and it's cool because he put some 1/4 inch thick steel plating at the back of the cradle, as part of the cradle, that was going to go slip over the frame rail, and we're going to cross bolt it, the frame rail, for more strength. So nothing's going to fail. He brought it, we test fit it. Of course it needs some tweaking, so we tweaked it a little bit.
At the starting of the week, I tell me talks you.
I mean, because I do want to maintain having this plane
Yeah, of
across
course.
here. These 3 holes here actually line up with like this face here.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd like to keep that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can
mean,
notch
we
it.
can-
Yeah, let's mark where it is.
Okay. I got a paint pen. We could like saturate
Yeah.
some paint.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You know?
Yeah, it takes a little while to get this up because it's a tight fit. I'll bolt it up back into place and then we can drop the paint on it. Yeah, see, you can see the gap here. It's like
Yeah.
3/8. Oh, worth spray paint? Man, you guys are fancy. Perfect bullseye.
We know what we're doing. Look at us. Look at us go. Awesome.
This is our new subframe, and so between that and the brackets that go on the engine, in theory we should be able to have the engine sitting in the car, which will be good.
So the guys need to drill a hole, or like a cutout, on the reinforcement plates in the back of the carrier to bolt up to the frame rails properly, while the boys try to use a hole saw.
It's a chuck that's giving me a problem right now. I hate this drill, dude.
Oh damn, that's not good.
It's giving me issues.
I mean, you said you have a plasma cutter? We could just
Yeah.
plasma cut it.
Yeah, if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up remaking this part anyway. Yeah, it's plasma cutter. It'll be
Yeah.
quicker and easier.
That wasn't very successful. Then they grabbed my shiny new plasma torch, which, love it. It just blew through the metal like butter. It was awesome. If you haven't used a plasma cutter, you need a plasma cutter. It is the cool, it's like having a Jedi lightsaber in your hands. Like the way you can cut metal is like a hot knife through butter. It is so amazing, it's ridiculous.
Smells nice and toasty.
So Matt got to use my plasma torch and cut a little bit of a C in the carrier where the bolt holes in the front frame rail are going to go through. It looked really good. Yep. that bolted up, got the engine in place. So we got to make sure this is tensioned enough.
Yep.
Where
Yeah, that other belt, it almost goes on and doesn't need any tensioning.
Really?
So maybe in the right combination of assembly, you don't need a tensioner at all, but probably better off just having one.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm thinking maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want someone to be screaming because you got to drop the engine to take the bracket off to replace the belt. You'll see we have the machined, beautiful pulley for the dry sump, and there are these flat rings. What those flat rings are is if you look at a belt, there's a little lip on both sides. So when the belt sits there, see, like normally right now it sits like this. There's nothing stopping the belt from walking off. Those rings are going to be tack welded to the pulley, so there is a physical barrier on both sides of the belt, so the belt will not slip off. And as you can see too, notice the belt. It is not a typical serpentine belt because this cannot slip. We're using a timing belt, a toothed, I don't know, a belt with teeth, okay? So there are grooves in the adapter pulley on the main crank to drive it, and there are grooves in the pulley on the pump side so that there's always positive engagement between those two and the belt, so they'll never slip. Anyway, we have the rings made separate for right now, and we are going to tack weld those on for right now for this version.
You should be able to test fit the motor in. Your E36 mounts should go right on here.
Yeah, did that for test purposes. I think it looks really close. He fabbed up some metal engine mounts, you know, actually motor mounts. Okay. Yeah, you can call them. He fabricated up steel engine mounts that will bolt on to the motor mounts that are bolted on to the carrier.
These look like they're shorter. Are these blown out?
No. I mean, they're well used. For right now, we used a set of used E36 mounts just because I had them around to see. They're close, but I think they're too high.
Might be another undersized hole. Sorry.
If you unscrew it, it'll unscrew.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that tight.
No. It's pushing the engine too high because remember, we want the stock hood to close on the engine. And right now, the engine is about yay much, you know, past that, which I don't like. So we're gonna have to modify the mounts. So wait, Anthony can drill that out tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Don't worry about it, Matt. Don't stress.
Yeah, I had to set this one farther back just so clearance.
Yes.
Clearance for
But
steering.
that's
really nice.
awesome. Yeah. That,
So I think
that
with
gets
that
me
thing-
super excited.
The plan is, I think what I want to do is I'll put a hole here.
Yep.
And then we can sleeve it through the frame rail.
We talked about that last
Yep.
time. The other thing is the steering. Very exciting using the steering. On the new custom Cradle, we made mounts to mount an E36 rack and pinion on the Cradle. And we eyeballed it today, and it is a straight shot from the hole for the steering wheel in the firewall, you know, essentially, to the spline shaft of the steering rack. So we're gonna get a steering shaft with two universal joints in it to be able to make that. But I'm feeling really good about that. I mean, the steering is gonna be great. The other thought is, in terms of the Cradle, there's also like an X-brace type thing under that chassis, which the control arms bolt to as well. And the thought we have is we want to incorporate that as part of the structure underneath the engine. So Matt has that, he's 3D scanning that.
But I think I could just make this piece with this on this side instead.
Anthony is fitting those E36 motor mounts that we have to the version 2 of the carrier and the version 1 of the engine mounts. And like you see, they're not perfect, but they're super close, okay? The key is once Matt comes in Friday and we get them 100% lined up and he knows kind of what to modify, he'll bring back a proper set of motor mounts that will line up perfectly with the holes in the version 2 or 3 of the carrier. I'm losing track. And then we should be able to hard mount the motor directly to the carrier. So exciting.
So that's behind there. Now you can get that in. There we go. That's
Nice, wonderful.
I get a bolt in there, Tony. That don't look straight.
It's not. This is gonna be bolted to the car. I got 1, 2, then we gotta drill bolt holes up through here. There's a third mounting spot up here. Then we have 1 on each side here through the frame rail. And then we're gonna have, there's another brace, like another half of a...
Oh, so you're just gonna like put a nut cert in the frame?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. But we just want to make sure it clears, so we got to make sure it's low enough. And our biggest concern was the steering geometry. If we're gonna, because this car had a rear setup, you know, behind the tire. Yeah, now we got an E36 rack in here, and we got the steering moved to the front of the tires instead of that whole steering box pitman arm crap, you know.
The
ancient.
clunky trunk.
Yep.
Clunky shit.
So it'll handle like a BMW should.
Thank you for coming on the journey with us. We're hoping you're enjoying the videos and kind of the journey of exploration of how to make an E31 a modern masterpiece. Ooh, that sounds pretty cool, Maya. Modern masterpiece. I like that. Like Maya always says, like, subscribe, share, and don't forget, enjoy the drive.